Well, today's project is a small project, but I have a feeling it's not going to be an easy project. I'm going to try to make the back brake lines. I went out and bought these pieces, the tabs, the fittings. These here got to get welded onto the frame where it goes from 3/16 steel line to stainless braided line. So you could see the hose here. The hose will be like that when it's done. So this has got to get welded in here somewhere for the back. Then I can go ahead and make the brake line and get over here to the proportioning valve. And then for the front, it's got to come up somewhere in here. I got to put the line lock. I'm thinking about putting it underneath the motor, inside the frame where you really can't see it. And the tabs here for the front get welded underneath here. And then the stainless line comes from here over to the caliper on both sides. So I don't want to weld now with the radiator and the front end on. I'll wait and weld the tabs on when I strip it down before powder coating. But let's see if I can go ahead and maybe bend the back line and get it tacked on today. Let's see. Well, it turned out pretty good. I had an old piece of scrap here. I did some practice bending on it to see how it would work. I decided to do is put a U in the bottom, come back up in between the frame rail and the master cylinder, and then you can see here, went down, tack welded it right there, and give me enough play for the rear end to go up and down. So next thing I gotta do is wait for the line lock to come in, and then I can pipe it from there up to the front to the line lock, which I think I'm gonna put underneath here behind the frame rail so you kind of don't see it and it hides the wires. And then I can run the brake line up underneath there to the front to the two tabs I got to weld on the corners. Another project, I'm trying to get all the projects done that have to do with welding on the frame, because once I get them done, I can take it back apart and send the frame to go get powder coated. These conduits here, before I had holes drilled in the frame, and they went in the frame and the wires went down through the frame, but I don't want to drill it, and they're just not long enough to make a bend and come down in behind the frame. So I got to see if I can get these longer, the tubing, flexible tubing like that, longer, and then weld some brackets on the inside to hold it, and then run the wires down under the frame. So I might try to mess with that a little bit tomorrow. We'll see. Well, yesterday I went and ordered the line lock from Jags at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They delivered it today at 12 o'clock. So I went ahead and bent the front line. If you can see it, and it's up, and it stops right here now, which is where I want to put the line lock. I'm going to try to kind of hide it under there where you don't see it. I got to make a bracket for that, and then I'll stop the brake lines there until I powder coat and start putting it back together, and then I'll bend the rest of the lines. Also yesterday I mentioned about the conduit for the headlights. Mine are 12 inches, which seems to be standard. You can find a lot of them 12 inches long, but I found a guy on eBay that sells a pair that are 19 inches long. So I'm hoping I could bend it out with a curve in it, come down the inside, and then bend it under, or put an elbow down at the bottom. So I kind of can hide it. They said 2 or 3 days, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll come sooner. Another issue I had that I've been working on today, the crossmember on the frame. My old one was 2 inches. This one's, the new frame I made, is 3 inches. So the brackets, the perch for the leaf spring is also 3 inches to match the pipe. Well, what happens now is this rod for the steering to tie it together was hitting. Well, it wasn't hitting. It was about 3/8 of an inch clearance. And if I take the motor out, the frame chassis comes up and it does hit. So what I did was I went ahead and made some spacers, 1-inch spacers for each side. But I didn't want the threads of the bolt being in the helm joint in the thing, because I was afraid it would get loose. So I went and got me some grade 8 bolts that are longer, and now I'll have shoulder through the whole thing, and I left enough thread on it to put a lock nut on it. I got that side done. I'm getting ready to go make that side, and we'll see how that looks. Well, I finished making the mounts for the line lock. You can see it into there. I'm going to stop right there for now, and I'll finish the rest of the brake lines when I get everything done and put it together for the final assembly. Also, I finished the other side for the spacers for the front. So you can see here, I got over 1 inch of clearance now. And here I'm working on the headlights. The conduits came in. You can see here my old conduit, and these are the new ones. They will be long enough to go down the inside of the frame rail and then turn them, so you won't see any of the wires coming out of the conduits. I'll have them hidden under the frame rail. That's going to be today's project. Well, I got the light apart, and you can see here from the one on the right is the old one. The one on the left is the new one that I just got. Apparently whoever built the car just stuck these things up in the light. They weren't fastened or held on there, just pushed up in there. So what I'm gonna do is I got a drill with a rotary file on it, and I'm gonna open up this hole here big enough where this will go through. The new one will fit just tight, fit through it. And if you look here on the end, it's got a big flare on the end, which will catch on that hole and should hold it in there. So I think what I'll do when I get ready to do the final assembly, I'll just put some silicone around the end of it, pull it tight in there, mount the other end, and then let it dry. It should stay. It can't come out. So let me rotary this, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, well, I got it reamed out. It was a little snug going through the small end. Here you can see. I don't know if you can see it, yeah. And that flare will hold it. I'll just put some silicone around it when I'm doing the final assembly. Stop it from moving around. And then what I decided to do here on the other end is this. I'm gonna make a mount up here under the frame like that. If you can see it. And it'll look like that. Probably zip tie it or something here to the bar coming down for the windshield mount. We'll see when we do the final assembly what it looks like. Just wanted to show some of the little problems that come up day to day. Well, I got the conduits for the headlights mounted. I think that was the last thing I needed to weld on the frame, as far as I can remember, before I send the frame off. So next thing is going to be strip everything back off of it, finish welding the frame, and send it to go get powder coated. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.